One of the greatest advantages of being a native French speaker is that, well, I can translate my videos into French, but I can also translate content in French into English, and that is what we are going to be doing today, because Benoit Beausejour was interviewed during CitizenCon by Terada, a prominent French streamer, especially for Star Citizen. And so in today's video, we are going to go over everything that was said in that interview. So Benoit confirms that the goal for Cloud Imperium Games is to break down the current industry barriers with ultra-specialized developers in small strike teams that combine their work together to fulfill Chris Roberts' vision. As an example, well, persistent entity streaming and server meshing, the network team will work with the online team and they will closely share their progress so that we can have the features that we have. But then we deep dived into the topic of server meshing, and Benoit confirmed that it was difficult to keep the secret that server meshing was working. He confirmed that the technology was working for about a month before CitizenCon, and to draw people's attention away and keep it as a surprise, they talked about the replication layer, but in reality it was server meshing that was working. The goal of server meshing is to really continue the concept of full seamless transition from one server to another. You can, for example, shoot from one server and have the impact in real time happening in another server. Benoit also said that they are further ahead as they thought they would. Transitions are working, and also the system is working, and so now they are going to work on making sure that the gameplay features are all going to be working in server meshing. They try server meshing with raids, but they want to see if it's going to work with missiles or fires, which is not the case right now. The plan is to gradually bring server meshing into the game, feature after feature. With Star Citizen 3.21, they are going to start in the preview server with the replication layer, which is going to be the very first start of server meshing because it's required for server meshing. Then static server meshing will come, and with this, well, we are going to have the Pyro system. The frontier between servers will be the jump gate, which will act as a transition zone. The next step for server meshing is going to be splitting one server into several servers, and finally they will have servers for specific zones. Right now, the issue is that server meshing cannot handle missions in various servers. For example, if you have a mission that starts in the Stanton system but you want to go to Pyro, well, it's not going to work. Such feature is not server meshing ready at this stage. Missions are therefore exclusive to each system, but they are going to work on making that possible. It's one of their objectives. Benoit then talked about when we could be seeing server meshing in the live servers, and he did say that because they are making faster progress than expected, it could be happening sooner than we thought. The only caveat here would be stability. They do not want to do this at the expense of stability, as we've seen with persistent entity streaming earlier this year. Terada then questioned Benoit about the database, following Chris Roberts' response to his Spectrum post, and Benoit answered by explaining that we are going to see persistent entity streaming in two pieces. There is the first piece, which is going to be the inventory system, which is called Global, and then the shard system, which is where the data in the servers are. The inventory data is the heaviest one because everyone has so many objectives everywhere, and this is really the one that has the most issues. And especially because, well, it was quite bugged, which resulted in problems that we saw. Game shards seem to adapt very well to the game though. The solution that they are choosing right now is to crush the data in a database so that it takes a smaller footprint in that database. Benoit now says that in 3.21 these issues seem to be gone, so he confirms that he feels that they are on the right track. Next, Terada asked about the possibility of choosing our own shard. Right now, they are not working on that, but it is true that Cloud Imperium Games did talk about it a few months ago. But they feel like they do not want to rush this feature because they are still iterating a lot on new features. They want to find a model that will work for a time in the future when more of these features are implemented. Benoit gave the example of a large battle that would happen in a specific shard. CIG would like players to join that battle without knowing that it would be in a particular shard, so that this seems like they are trying to make the process of joining specific shards as seamless as possible. Speaking of shards, Benoit that continued by saying that the replication layer will remove some of the burden that was given to the servers, so the shards should be opened up to more people. This is something that they are considering doing with the release of the Pyro system. Right now they are talking about taking baby steps, moving up from 100 to 150 players per shard, but it's very difficult for them to quantify exactly how many additional players that can be added right now. The reason why the servers are going to have a lesser workload is because each time the server moves up a frame, it has to send those information to each client that is connected to it. With the replication layer, the server will only have to send that data to the replication layer. There should therefore be a significant gain of performance at that level, but Benoit said that his team can't quantify it just yet because they haven't had the players try it yet. CIG want to send the replication layer to the new preview channel with a 3.21 build so that they can have more data and a clearer view as of how they can proceed next. For example, it will help them find the limit of how many players a shard can have. Benoit also added that the replication layer will not mean the end of the 30k errors because the replication layer itself can crash too, but according to him, its chances are far lower than the servers themselves, and the reason why the replication layer is far less likely to crash is because the main cause of crash is the simulation itself. The replication layer does not do any simulation, as it is only here to collect data and redistribute it. The servers do the simulation and eventually crash. In fact, the replication layer is a more difficult and complex technology compared to server meshing itself, and so far it seems that server meshing is going to be quite easy to roll out once the replication layer is fully operational. As far as the replication layer development is concerned, they are going to release it in the preview channel first, as mentioned earlier. And the more they fine-tune it, the more updates they are going to roll out, but still in the preview channel. It is only going to be once they see that their stability levels are high enough, once they reach a certain thresholds in terms of reliability, that they will release it into the PU. Benoit also confirmed that it is CIG's objective to bring everything that we saw into CitizenCon into the PU within the next 12 months. Benoit is quite confident that they can do it because what we've seen was not research and development but actual production work, and some of them are very advanced in the development and are not blocked by technological hurdles. Speaking of technological hurdles, well, so far Star Citizen has been blocked by these technological hurdles, which is the reason why it feels like a limited game, but in the future, as more as these hurdles are passed, they are going to focus on turning Star Citizen more into a real MMO. Benoit then talked about how happy he is to be fully working for Clan Imperial Games following the merger between CIG and Turbulent. He is very happy to be able to make ships in Montreal, which is considered the heroes of Star Citizen. Benoit said that he is very passionate about the game and he really enjoys bringing his energy to the project and share it with the other teams. Finally, Benoit talked about Quantum, and that's big news here. He said that Quantum is complete right now, but the problem is that it does not have much effect on the game, and the reason is because there are a lot of features that are simply missing from it to have a significant impact. That's why they are going to roll out these features, some of them that we saw at CitizenCon, but as of right now, it wouldn't make any sense to roll Quanta because they would have to re-iterate on new features again and again each time a new feature is added. To sum it up, Quantum is a typical example of a tech that was ready too ahead of its time while the game was still being fleshed out. So there we have it, a very lengthy interview indeed. The interview lasted for over 40 minutes. I tried to sum it up as much as possible while still talking about most of the important points that were being talked about during this interview. I'll put a link in the description down below if you want to check it out. You'll just have to put the subtitles from French to English. With that comes the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy this content, well, please help me out on Patreon or via the YouTube John membership program. Any help out there is much appreciated and it really keeps the lights on. And I would like to give also a big shout out to Dr. Forbin, Zero Crusher, and Deplorably Fidel, as well as everybody else who helps on those platforms. Guys, I have been Irad. I wish you guys a wonderful day. Subscribe for more content and I'll see you guys in the next one.